Welcome to my channel. This is Mel the Explorer.
Hey everyone, and welcome. So you're thinking about a trip to the United States. That's awesome. Whether you're planning on attending business meetings or finally seeing Times Square with your own eyes, that B1/B2 visa is your golden ticket. And today we're going to walk you through the entire application process from start to finish so you can tackle it with total confidence. Ready? Let's dive in. So here's our game plan. We've broken it all down into 5 simple stages. We'll start at the very beginning, then get that online application perfect, figure out your appointments, totally ace the interview, and finally, we'll talk about what happens right after. It's a clear roadmap, so let's get going. All right, first things first. Before we jump into all the paperwork and the nitty-gritty details, let's just get a feel for the road ahead. Understanding the big picture makes the whole thing a lot less intimidating. Okay, so here's the entire journey in a nutshell. It all kicks off with that big online form, the DS-160. After that, you'll pay the fee, and then you'll schedule your 2 big appointments, one for biometrics, fingerprints in a photo, and the other for the actual interview. And after all that, the final step is getting your passport back. See? When you lay it all out, it's really just a series of steps, no surprises. So what is this B1, B2 visa anyway? Well, think of it as a 2-for-1 deal. It's a non-immigrant visa, which is just a fancy way of saying it's for temporary stays. The B1 part is for business stuff, like if you need to go to a conference or meet with partners. The B2 part? That's the fun one, tourism, visiting your family, or just having a vacation. The best part is they usually combine them, and it can be good for up to 10 years with multiple entries. Now we're getting to the real starting line, the DS-160. This online form is, and I am not exaggerating, the absolute foundation of your entire application. Everything starts here. Every single thing you put on this form matters, so we've got to get it right. You'll head over to the official government website to get started. Be super thorough with every single question. And here's a crucial tip. Seriously, listen up. That website is notorious for logging you out. So do yourself a huge favor and hit that save button constantly. You don't want to lose your progress. Get your digital 2x2 photo ready, upload it, submit, and then, this is important, print that confirmation page with a barcode. You will absolutely need it later. Okay, once your DS-160 is submitted, it's time to pay the application fee. Right now, it's set at $185 US, which is roughly around 10,500 pesos. The key thing to remember here is that this fee is non-refundable no matter what happens with your application, so it's a real commitment to the process. All right, form's in, fee is paid, what's next? It's time to get your appointments on the calendar. This is where you'll actually schedule those 2 trips you need to make. One for biometrics, and the big one, the interview with the consul. Just a heads up, the scheduling website can be a little frustrating sometimes. It can get glitchy. The best advice is to just be patient. Maybe try a different browser. But here's a little secret that a lot of successful applicants swear by. Try logging in during super off-peak hours, like 3 or 4 in the morning. Weird, I know, but that's often when new, earlier appointment slots pop up. Give it a shot. So you might be wondering, how long does all of this take? Well, let's look at a real-life timeline to give you a better idea. This person submitted their form on December 18th. Their biometrics appointment was just about a week later. But look, their interview wasn't until January 15th. So you can see there's often a pretty big gap, a few weeks even, between those 2 appointments. It's really good to keep that in line for your own planning. And here we are, the main event, the consular interview. This is it. This is your chance to connect with a real person and show them why you're a great candidate for the visa. Preparation is everything here. So let's break down exactly what you need to do to make the best possible impression. Okay, documents. This is where being super organized pays off. Now, what you need depends on if you're employed or self-employed. If you have a job, you'll need things like your certificate of employment and your approved leave form. If you run your own business, then your DTI or BIR registration and business permits are your key papers. But for both, things like original bank certificates and statements are non-negotiable. The truth is, the officer might not even ask to see half of this stuff, but you have to have them with you, just in case. Now, what if someone else is footing the bill for your trip? If you have a sponsor, you're going to need a whole separate set of documents from them. We're talking an affidavit of support, plus their own proof that they can afford it. Their business papers, their bank certificate, their ITR. This just proves to the officer that your trip is fully and legitimately funded. Okay, let's talk about something you might have heard of, Section 214B. It sounds super official and scary, but let's demystify it. This is the #1 reason people get denied, but it is not a permanent ban. All it means is that in that moment, the officer just wasn't convinced you had strong enough reasons to come back to the Philippines. So really, your main job in that interview is to prove that you do. So how in the world do you prove these strong ties? Well, this is where your life story, backed up by your documents, comes into play. Things like having a stable job for many years, showing consistent income, owning a car or property, having family here who depend on you, even showing that you've traveled abroad before and always came back. You're basically building a case piece by piece that shows you have this amazing, stable life here that you're definitely coming back to. All right, let's do a little practice run. This is almost guaranteed to be the very first question you hear. It sounds so simple, right? But believe me, your answer here really sets the tone for the rest of the conversation. Here's how you knock that question out of the park. Be specific, be honest, and let your excitement show. Don't just mumble, for tourism. No way. Say something like, I'm so excited to finally take a 2-week trip to New York. I'm a huge Broadway fan, so seeing a show is my top priority, and I also can't wait to visit the Statue of Liberty and Central Park. See the difference? It's confident, it's detailed, and it perfectly matches what you wrote on your form. Okay, a few last-minute tips for the big day. For your outfit, think business casual. You want to look professional, but you don't need a full-on suit. Definitely get there early because security can take a while. And this is a big one. You cannot bring any electronics inside. No phones, nothing. It's probably best to just leave them at home or with a friend. Phew! You did it. The interview is over. You've made it through the hardest part. So what happens now? Let's talk about the home stretch, getting the final word, and your passport. You know, you might be surprised by how fast things can move after you get that approval. Check this out. This applicant got approved right there at the window on January 15th. The very next day, boom, an email and a text saying their passport was ready. And the day after that, they picked it up, complete with a brand new 10-year visa. It can seriously happen that quickly. Now, for any of you out there who are renewing your visa, you might be in for some good news. There's something called the Interview Waiver Program, or what a lot of people call Dropbox. It could mean you get to skip the interview altogether. Generally, you're eligible if your last visa expired in the last 4 years and you've had a clean record since. But rules can change, so your best bet is to always check the official embassy website for the most up-to-date info. So, at the end of the day, what is all this really about? It's not just about forms and documents. It's about you, clearly and confidently telling your story. Your story about why you want to visit, and just as important, your story about all the reasons you have to come back home. With the right preparation, you're more than ready to share it.